Good morning, everyone. I see everybody without mobile phones in their hands right now, which is such a pleasure to see that nobody's working on the laptop and nobody's looking at the mobile phones and everybody's looking here. Thank you so much for being here early morning. In fact, me and Vishal and Preeti and Rati were the first ones to reach here at 8:45. And yeah, thank you. So, these three beautiful ladies and two good-looking men, I can say, including myself. Uh, these four people sitting on the right side of me, they run almost 95% business in the country, if I'm not wrong. Preeti alone is more than 50%, I would say, right? I don't know. I mean, these guys must be in Ahmedabad. So, I mean, between us, I think we have about over 100 years of media planning experience. So, whatever we say, please take that as gospel truth. It's not going to be wrong. Whatever we say is going to be absolutely correct. And what we have done is that we have, over the period, we've been through a lot. We were just discussing when we came in that, Excel sheets, guys, you see the Excel sheet on computer? There used to be a physical Excel sheet, on which we used to work. A piece of paper, which all those lines drawn, the cubes, and it's to write numbers and then multiply and make a media plan. We started from there, and then, Excel was invented, and then we started working on Excel. We learned Excel, and then we started getting some data about what viewership is, and we started targeting consumers. We started targeting audiences, right? From there, world evolved, Web 2 happened, Web 3 happened, and we got more information about consumers. Now, what we do is that we target consumers directly. We do a hyper personalization, so as to say. So things have changed over the period of last so many years, ever since we started working. I don't know what happened before I started working, which was about 140 years back. My company was established in 1884. Before that, I don't know what used to happen. But after that, I can tell you what happened. We used to plan for one TV channel and just a set of audience, and that's it. It was easy. It's becoming complex and more complex as we go along. But what is the next we can do is what is the question, With so much of data, so much information, companies like Dabur, where I work, there's a constant struggle of, how to grow business, how to be relevant in today's times, how to target younger people, how to keep gaining market share, how to enter into new categories, and how to not lose out on the existing customers. And our job here is primarily to drive demand in the market. How do I drive demand is all we do. We give this a fancy name. We use a lot of jargons to talk to people. But heart of the hearts, basically what we do is just a small function of driving demand. Ultimately, business is driven by companies who we work for. We are very humble, and we just do a small part of job, and we are happy with what we do. And thank you so much. I'll just get to the questions now. I've written some questions for everybody. First question is for Preeti. I hope you'll allow it.
Yes.
So, data analytics has been integrated into media planning in a big way. And, since, you, Preeti, you know everything what's happening in the industry and almost handling 50% of the market. How do you think, what is there for the clients? How is this integration helping you? What is the future of this integration, and how do we take this forward?
And thank you for that. It's a very powerful question, Rajiv, to set up this segue. And I think for me, the delight is I'm going to be talking among very close friends whom I've worked with in shaping the definition of data analytics, how we are measuring. Rati and me go back 2004. Where she used to handle the Orange to Hutch campaign, or Anisha, when she set up the whole digital transformation, Vishal, We actually started setting it up in 2003 or 2 or whatever. But at that point, the definition of how data analytics did transform business results to what it is today, the principles, like you said, is exactly the same. How do I get more demands for my product? How do I make it more cost effective in the way I reach out to the consumer? How we are able to transform this definition into business results is our favorite word today, a lot of AI. But it isn't so simple. AI doesn't do it all, right? So there are two sides of this coin that I want to share as a perspective. One is, how do I custom deliver data analytic results to a brand which is focused on demand generation through a consumer narrative versus demand generation which is more instantaneous in nature. And that's where your definitions of performance marketing versus brand marketing comes into play. Now the tricky part is and me and Anisha were talking just before this session also, that it's such a blurred line that you really can't put it in silos. If I have to do performance marketing, I need to do brand marketing, without which I cannot distill this. Yeah. What we have done is an exhaustive journey over the years. Actually, many in this room have contributed, many in this chair have contributed to it, is how we look at data, how we harmonize data, the basic principles of statistics come in, how we host it, how we mine it. The good part is technology is allowing us to do it much faster, much quicker. So today, for example, if I'm doing a performance marketing campaign for a specific category like a shoes or a OTT player, I'll be able to tell instantaneously whether the campaign delivered on a certain time band, which creative delivered instantaneously, so that I can course correct the campaign in the next 2 hours. You know, that's the beauty of how data analytics has delivered to business result. Is that sustainable? Yes. But is this the only way to do business analytics? No. Which is why your traditional MMM plays a larger role, because your brand funnel is what is funneling your performance marketing. So if I break this up into upper funnel, middle funnel, and low funnel, we have individually set up many elements that will analyze that and deliver to it. MM is classic. I think it's back in action because people are realizing that the lower funnel analytics can take you up. I know it's quite contrary to the tech partners here, selling outcome level targeting. It's not taking away from that. It's just going to enhance if we have the upper funnel marketing analytics in place. Look at how the industry is transformed, Rajiv. We didn't have connected TV, say, 5 years back. Today, connected TV allows me to target at a pin code level. We have a product on advanced TV, right? We are able to do frequency capping at a geo level. That is the power of analytics we have set up. Now, how do I take it ahead? Today, we are looking at, okay, I can target at a geo level, and then if I want to narrow down my performance funnel in that geo or pin code, I have tech solutions to enable that, analyze the analytics. My CPMs might be high, my cost per lead might be high, so how do I make it more efficient? So this whole chain then starts building again. So in GroupM, we have invested a lot in this whole journey from brand funnel to low funnel, and at every element we've put in data tech to make it more intelligent. But at the same time, is it enough? No. There's a lot of human intelligence still existing, thankfully, because somebody has to sit and interpret this, work with the brand. Is it real for the brand? Like if you ask me today, should I do pin code level conversion metrics? I'm still not sure. Why? Because the cost would be very high for the brand unless the brand elasticity is dissolved and they cannot do any much more. Unless I want to do 12004 के अंदर ही वो 2 लाख population में ही मुझे targeting करना है और conversion करना है, that's fine for a food delivery maybe, not beyond that. So that balancing is where human elements come in, and we've played a lot with that. The Center of Excellence that I run is focusing on building this along with the activation, because what we follow is a DPAM, which is discovery, plan, activate, measure. And in DPAM, we ensure that all these metrics are built in. There's a lot of AI ML which automatically starts predicting for the next campaign and build that intelligence. But it is work in progress. Is it 100% foolproof? No. Like you said, from that broad Excel sheet on paper to this, it is still ongoing.
Thank you so much. Preeti, in fact, if you remember, you are the one who taught me what market mix modeling is back many years back. Thank you so much for that.
So grateful.
And Mimi Dev was there at that
Yes.
time. Yeah, thank you, Mimi. Now, next question is for Rati. Rati, you handle host of FMCG clients, right? And so what's happening with these guys? I mean, don't talk about us, talk about others. What's happening with the rest of them? Performance marketing versus brand marketing, what works? And how do you think we can grow our business? And what do you think is in store for us in future?
I'm going to insist on talking about your brands itself, Rajiv. I completely agree with what Preeti said, right? It's just not about the lower end of the funnel. It's about how you manage the entire funnel seamlessly. And to a certain extent, for most CPG brands today, one of the key aspects that we really look at is insights that one can get from retail media, right? While I know that AI is the buzzword today, everybody is into it, we are doing all of it. The other very important stream for us at Publicis and Starcom is mining insights that one can get from e-commerce and retail platforms. There's so much of data available there in terms of consumer behavior, right? Purchase decisions that are being made, basket optimization, competitive analysis that can come out of retail media information as well, right? How do you use that and funnel that back into even building your upper funnel strategy? Right? How do you use that to even, address consideration issues, right? So it's just not about, the end of the funnel, which is performance marketing, but it is also about utilizing whatever data that you can get, from retail media and helping it, fuel the entire funnel. And I'm seeing that, take a lot of precedence in all of our basic strategic and, plans that come to the table. One case in point is where, we looked at marrying the, sickness levels data that was available on search trends, looking at, again, similar adjacent, buying behavior on adjacent categories on retail media, and using DSPs to deliver for your brand, right? I'm sorry, I had to bring up your brand. But what I'm trying to say is that I think they all coexist, and one needs to look at it as a seamless funnel planning rather than just performance or just brand. And performance can become very short-term. It's also about, ensuring that you're building the brand for the long term as well. Right? So for me, that I think the other aspect to what Preeti added on, the MMMs, AI fueling all of it, is also the, the retail insights that one can get. Right?
So what has happened is that, in companies like ours, what happens is that there are different people handling performance and different people handling, say, brand. So what happens is that usually somebody who gets the business gets more money, So that's the thing. Now coming to Anisha. So, every panel yesterday was AI driven. If I can do this joke on you, Anisha. So we have AI, Anisha Iyer today. So it's an AI driven panel. Anisha, the question to you is that, how do you see the advertiser sentiment today? And how is OMD adopting to the strategy, and what are the emerging technologies doing? Basically, what's happening is that we see a lot of bad sentiment because of the consumption in the market, and one sees that there's not enough money available, and that's one side. And then secondly, you have your own unique set of clients, which are all new age clients. So how do you think this is working for you?
Okay, so wow, there's like 3 parts to the question that you asked. So let me try and address one at a time. Okay, let me begin with client sentiments, and I'll probably go back to the last piece that you said, where there's a performance team sitting separately at a client, non-performance team, if I may, sitting separately, and then there's the fight for budget. I think one of the things that we've been able to do fairly successfully is at least make integration a mandate as much as possible at our end and as much as possible at the client's end. In fact, I'm very proud that a lot of businesses that weren't necessarily ready to walk the path of integration, I've actually said to them that I may not be your partner today. And there will be a day when you will realize the need to look at a one view. And that's the future I'd like to prepare you for, right? So fundamentally, I think the manner in which, and it's not just me, if you ask any OMDR on the floor, the intent is always to ensure that I'm able to give you one view, holistic view from penny spent to penny earned in totality. And if we can simplify that, then everything that, Preeti said, Rati said, are all, wheels within the cog to kind of make it run faster, smoother, and things like that. But if you don't have the picture in its entirety, on both sides, there's as much onus of that on the agency as much there is on the advertiser. In fact, the other classic example is your marketing team versus your e-commerce teams, which sit separately. The fact is that both the teams eventually have to sell the same product.
Absolutely.
Right? And there is no point in a CMO fighting with a salesperson saying e-commerce should get 5 crores more or 10 crores less or whatever. I mean, it's a completely futile exercise. But sometimes I think it also requires a external party to kind of make people sit across the table, fight it out on one day, but, walk out in a manner that you have the string figured out. The good news is that at least and I wouldn't want to claim that we've figured the winning formula in its entirety, but a good 85-90% of figuring out this big picture is something we've achieved fairly effectively. And that's one of the reasons I can tell you in the last 3 years clients have stuck by us. I think our retention rate last couple of years actually was 99%.
It's fantastic.
And there's a reason, because honesty, in my view, is probably better than even supreme intelligence. If you're able to sit down across the table and first understand or first acknowledge that there are gaps to be filled, figure out what those are, and then everyone takes a minute and say, we all contributed to some of these problems and therefore the solution lies with us. And if you can have that level of honest and candid conversations, then it works. At least that's the formula that's working for OMD. There is massive level of honesty, if not anything else. So 1 and 2, I think I answered most of your questions. I didn't miss anything.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Now over to Vishal. So Vishal is one of the oldest, not oldest in terms of age, in terms of experience, youngest on stage perhaps, and one of the most knowledgeable people, if I may use this word, in this industry as far as the digital media is concerned, been there for like a long time. I won't tell you number of years because you'll guess his age. So, the media planning you've seen, Vishal, you've been on both sides. You've been on the client side, agency side, both. And you have driven businesses. You are running a business currently for medicine. How do you think that media planning has evolved in this period? And how do you think is the future? Like, what, I'll tell you from my side, what happens is that earlier, like somebody would come and say that this is the media plan you should go for. Today, I think data has become very democratized. People know everything. So the one part of the question is, are brand managers going to take away our jobs? Secondly, what do you think, how it has evolved and what is the future? Sure. And how do you think, say, tech can be used and
Absolutely.
AI can be used?
Thanks. First of all, thanks for that long introduction. I'm not that old. Let me make it sure. And I'm going to cut your question into a couple of parts to make it a little more simplified for this audience. See, agencies have evolved. It's not about, I'm going to make some 4 sharp points over here. It's not about the media input or the number of GRPs and the clicks that you want to buy. It's all about now the business outcomes. And agencies are accountable for a market share growth or a sales kind of thing. So that's a big shift that's happened today, right? It used to be hugely labor intensive. It's all automated, right? That is another point which has completely changed how the agencies are today trying to function. The third one is, It's not about the agency and a client relationship. It's about my trusted partner. I trust my partner and I know I'm going to grow my business on the back of this partner. I think these are some of the big values that agencies have built. Is media planning change? See, the fundamental principles of media planning will never change, right? Your principles are you allocate, you optimize, and you attribute, correct? That's how media planning has been built. Now, in every parts of these three principles, there is AI. There is a great product called as a Robin or a Meridian, which gives you a fantastic attribution, and it also deploys back into what the allocation needs to be, right? You have plenty amount of optimizing companies, maybe some of them over here, right? They give you efficiencies to the level of 25, 30%, 40%, whatever. So I think technology is now really playing a big role. Having said that, I think it's a changing evolution. It'll keep changing. Today, we're all going to talk about AI. Tomorrow, there'll be something new, more coming in. But we have to adapt it and we have to learn to live with that. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Preeti, one question now to you on a topic which is not related to media so much, about gender diversity,
Okay.
So, you think women make better media planners? Because,
I'm just scanning how
I
many
have,
women
so
are sitting there.
I'll tell you why, because, I'm not formally trained in this, right, in media planning or say any business. We have learned whatever we have learned on our jobs. We learned a lot from, there used to be Sulina Menon in the industry, right? All of us have seen her, we learned a lot from her, learned
She's
a
running
lot
an
from you.
amazing academy now.
Yeah, learned a lot from you, learned a lot from Rati. So, women do they make better media planners, or do they, or what do you think about gender diversity in our business? Because I don't see that in my business, because it's only sales-driven business and people are like out there in the field, etc.
Correct.
Versus this job, which needs a lot of brain.
I have a feeling Rati is itching to answer
so
this
first
question.
you should answer this, then Rati, and then Anisha.
Rajiv,
Just
this
small,
has gone
one
off
sentence.
brief. You've gone off brief completely.
No, that's okay.
I actually want to say yes, but I think I'll put it in a different perspective, that we are excellent salespeople who happen to sell media.
Okay.
I hope that answers.
Yeah. Rati?
I think I would go with inciting.
Inciting.
Very great with inciting.
Is it about, digging into the past and of data?
I think we're just intuitive, far
Yeah.
more. And I somewhere, I keep telling this in every forum, and I sometimes rant also over this. I think you would have seen enough of my rant in the industry on this, that we have to work 3 times more just to prove the point. And
That's
because we do that naturally now, and hoping the current generation doesn't have to do that. We did it. I don't think the current generation needs to do it, because we did it, paved the way. And like even Sulina, Rhoda Mehta, there were enough in the industry, right?
Yeah.
Divya Karani, Divya Radhakrishnan. I've worked with all of them. So I feel the intuitiveness, and because we are there out more often than not, and our share is much less, say 30% of the industry or 25% of the industry.
And I actually also think resilience.
Yes.
I think intuition and resilience. That's one thing that's...
There is also AI today.
Thank you so much. And since Women's Day is just 2 days away, Anisha, your point of view on this?
I promised I will not do a point of view away from the group. Look, I don't think it has anything to do with gender. Okay, I hear what Preeti says, that we probably had to do more than what the current generation does. And I think probably the less we talk about it, the less it will become an issue for the current generation, and it wouldn't exist. I think and with all due respect to International Women's Day and what it's trying to achieve around the world, a lot of stuff has gotten normalized over a period of time. We've also accepted it, and we've seen both sides, let me put it that way. And we don't want to talk about it. Because in my view, I think if common sense prevails, empathy prevails, it doesnent matter. It really doesn't matter. So as long, I think common sense should be spoken about more than gender, because I think that's kind of going away in this world, but if we can bring back common sense, I think we'll be in a great place overall.
Now, a question to Vishal on back to media.
Thank you.
Optimization is being done with, say, help of AI. So is there any algorithm bias which happens? That's one question. Second part is that, are the rates important? Is cost optimization important anymore, or clients have given it away?
Look, I think there is a algo to every optimizer. I don't think there's a different algo for a different product. I mean, eventually everything lands up at a neural network. Nothing, your old analytical models have not changed, and your AI is only reading and adopting what it was built on that back of it. It's just that earlier you had lesser data, today you have lots and lots of data. I think that's the biggest difference today. Is it building efficiencies? Yes, it does build efficiencies. I mean, the reason of optimizing is for building efficiencies, right? So at what scale? That's an experiment that every maybe agency, every client needs to do to figure out what's the level of efficiency that it can build. But the objective is efficiency. I will put it that way.
So you think there's no bias from driven by algorithms? Say, so if you kind of mess with the algorithm, something may go wrong.
Can I take that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've been doing successfully is actually building a lot of automation and AI tools in-house, and I'm sure all networks are doing that, right? And one of the key questions, Rajiv, the clients keep asking is the same thing that you just asked. I mean, it's very relevant. Are you building better efficiencies on these two biggest platforms where most of the digital budgets are going in today? What kind of efficiencies are you driving? And are whatever you're driving true to what we want, right? So we've been kind of successful in actually building an algo internally, which delivers double-digit efficiencies and keeping all the other requirements that you were talking about in mind. And it's actually being used as an autopitter right now with clients actually looking through the data and seeing that it is actually working far better than what is available out in the market. So short answer, yes, it's possible. And it ticks all the boxes in terms of whether it's following the right protocols or not. Yeah.
No, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what are algos? Algos is how we have coded in the way we work, right? Now, the same plan can be made in 20,000 different ways. The same algorithm can be coded in, or how we optimize can be done in 20,000 different ways. So for every algorithm, there can be a counter algorithm, technically. And I think what Rati alluded to and what we are all doing in our own organizations is how do we better it for your business need. We have done a whole set of custom solutioning for the client business. Why? Because that's becoming more and more important. So layering up to what Rati is saying is that's what is going to be the future. And I think many of the partners here are also going to talk about that, right? All the tech solutioning is around that today.
That's right.
The one only increment to Preeti would be the non-media side, which is the creative side of it as well. Because typically when you speak about any input or outcome based on any data mining or algorithms is largely implications on media, but I think it's important to look at implications on creative as well. So we've, at least at our end, we analyze both media as well as AI tools that analyze creative. And the multiplier, therefore, of it, and we've looked at some 5,000 creative analysis in a 3-month span, and we realized that a slightly more effective creative, even though may have slightly worser metrics in media than another brand potentially, the multiplier because of the creative ends up generating better business for that at a cumulative level as compared to the other brand. So if you look at media in isolation, you would have probably taken a different decision. But the minute you look at data analysis that equates media and creative in totality, then the decision becomes different.
Yeah.
And you know, the beauty of today's time is that creative is not creative. It's a subset of media. Earlier,
That's true.
creative बनाओ फिर media सोचते हैं. अभी media is clear. Creative has to be custom to the solutioning, and hence, to your point on algorithms, I think algorithms, we don't need to worry because there's enough solutioning thanks to the creative media coming together for the brand needs.
Also, there are many algos, so you don't have to stick to one algo, right? You don't have to stick to one optimizer. I mean, you just keep changing what is working best for your clients. That's how we see it.
So tell me something, will we ever see a Lalita ji kind of ad ever as impactful, created by one media, only on one screen?
We should, no?
That kind of thing, will we ever
should.
see?
See, Coca-Cola has just come out, I mean, they came out with the whole AI created ad, right?
Yeah, I think that didn't go too well with the audiences.
Correct, it
around
didn't,
Christmas,
right?
yeah.
So humanity will be there. I think we have enough ads. I'm sure IPL is going to throw up a lot more interesting ads because the season is on. I think that will coexist. The storytelling creatives versus media deliverable creatives.
Right. One last question. I know the time is up, but since we had to wait for so long, I will ask this question. Come what may. So the question is about the cross-screen measurement. The industry has been grappling with it for several years. There's no solution. I don't know whether this kind of solution exists anywhere in the world. Because other countries, the digital is like far ahead of the television. In India, still we have still people watching a lot of television. 90 crore people connected to TV, 90 crore people connected to digital, and with cricket coming into the digital platform, that's driven a lot of numbers on digital medium in terms of viewership, and that's going to perhaps be bigger than television one day. But the cross-screen measurement, that's still not there yet. What do you think is the future?
I'm going to now break the rhythm and I'm saying what I'm going to say, Rajiv. I can't
Yeah.
help. I think cross-screen measurement, the way you want to measure TV, if you want to measure everything like that, that's a problem. But today with first-party data, we know the audience impact of media and hence the cross-media impact on that because I have the first-party data. I'm able to curate that. But if you want it to be measured, unfortunately, we are so driven by the term GRP that we want to equate everything. We have made digital equal to a GRP.
Yeah, that's true.
So that is the problem genesis. There is cross-media, that it exists, but not in the definition of how many are seeing it. I think that is the disconnect.
We are seeing it in a wrong way. That's what you're saying,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's the change in the plan that's happening, right? I mean, I think Vishal spoke about it, about attribution, right? It's, attribution today is not about how it used to be earlier, right? It's about the influence of every piece of advertising or every piece of information that the consumer receives and how that is delivering to the last mile or the ROI.
Absolutely.
And it is possible to do that.
It is possible. I think the one other bit to what Preeti said in terms of the way we're looking at it, and I also think it's the fear of applying some of the bits that come from that as well. And I'm saying this because intuitively or legacy or whatever the case may be, there would be a certain pattern to investments of advertisers. And the minute you do a true blood attribution analysis, whether direct or assisted, to Rati's point in that sense, you discover certain gems. More often than not, the inertia to apply that in the business because it is slightly left of center from what you're used to doing, I think that's the leap of faith that advertisers need to take. And it's not easy because there is a partner community in auto, there's a dealer community, and there are so many other people that you have to consider outside of the person buying your product in order to ensure, you put a tick mark on effective marketing. I think if we can just manage that slightly better, the level of sophistication that exists with measurement today is enough, as long as we're able to apply it to its fullest.
Right. Thank you. Sure.
Look, I have nothing to add more than what they're saying, so I don't want to echo everything. But I think the different point that I like to make over here is, it's not about multi-screen. It's all about signals of what the consumers are watching. right? And the beauty about the AI, of course not Anisha here, but the AI models like I mentioned this earlier, the Robins or the Meridians that the Giants have built are beautifully built. So it really captures quite a lot of signals. And I think that is more important than just randomly asking a question that, did you see my ad over here? Or did you see my, right? That was an old day.
Thank you so much. Time is up, and actually we don't have a time for questions, but probably we can take. Can we take a couple of questions or no? No, we are running out of time. We'll answer it separately. So we'll come to an end now, and thank you so much, audience, for being so patient and not looking at your phones, looking at us and listening to such serious discussion. We are from the advertising industry. Let me tell you this: we try to make everything fun. So if I have offended anybody, please don't mind. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rajiv, and thank you to all our panelists. If I could request you to please step forward for a group photograph. And